Welcome to the Partners Podcast, where you get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to entrepreneurs who are relentlessly building real, profitable companies. Join us as we ask them the hard questions so you can take away the mindset, strategy, and tactics that launch them to success. Welcome to another episode of the Partners Podcast. I'm joined by my business partner and good friend, Anthony Olvera today, CEO and founder of Outsourcing. And today we have some updates and some talking points. What are we going to be talking about today, Anthony? And why don't we let the audience know that this is actually a two-way interview. We're just here to chat. It's like a fireside chat.
Yeah, actually, so I would call this more of a mentorship call. So basically, for those of you who listened to the last episode, Brendan ended up buying 50% of Outsourcing, and we are equal partners. And with that being said, I am using my benefit of having Brendan as a business partner, and I'm just trying to get as much time with him and soak up as much knowledge because we've been going through a lot of changes. And us talking about this on the Partners Podcast is really, it's a great opportunity for you to look at what's actually happening inside of businesses right now, because we're really just putting it out there raw. There can be probably some things that could happen in the future legally, like this recording is going to be out in the public. So we're really putting ourselves on the line here for you guys. And we just hope that you can learn from our mistakes so that you don't have to make the same ones.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken away, just being in business is like, I wish I had an actual mentor that just was one step ahead of me in making those mistakes, so I didn't make ones that have probably cost me cumulative easily $1 million between all the different, the wrong people I've hired, the wrong initiatives, rabbit holes I've gone down with spending money with marketing partners that don't actually produce results that actually cost me money. So I think it's really good to really hone in on what is other people's lessons that you can learn from and actually see how you can apply that to your business. And every business is different, but there's obviously a theme when it comes to business development and growing a business. There's a lot of core concepts that we'll probably cover today.
Yeah, so with that being said, I'm just going to really just get us going based off of where we left off in the conversation, why we're going to have this call. So for everybody listening, context, Outsourcing, 7-figure company. We've built it up. It's had its challenges. It's not really a high profit company, actually. So we've been really thinking of how can we restructure this company, what are some models out there in the market, because for a company like Outsourcing, there's not a whole lot of examples. The vast majority of the market is pretty much doing the same thing or similar. So our product is we hire virtual assistants for our clients in the United States, so from either the Philippines or Nicaragua, and the model is really simple. Let's say somebody requests, they say, hey, we want to make $4 to $8 an hour. We then resell that same person, the labor, to our clients for between $9 to $15 an hour, for example. And that's been our model for the longest time, and it's been good, but it's caused a lot of issues. So just to kind of like remind you of the issues that it's caused, because we tend to find really good talent, and this talent stays with the clients over time. A big part of our struggle is really like after like the year and a half mark, clients start to wonder like, why are we still paying you a markup, right? And I think that it's been very clear that there has been a desire for clients to work directly with their staff, and the staff wants to work directly with the clients. And also too, we have, and again, this is where the transparency is freaking real on this podcast. We have had clients steal virtual assistants from us and hire them directly, and where we thought that we were legally covered, we were not. So, a big part of like what we thought was going to save us was like, hey, our contracts. Then when it's time to actually go and enforce these contracts, we've had a lot of trouble enforcing the contract. So, and again, sometimes for some of these longer deals, it makes sense. But it's like if we're gonna continue selling, and we're creating like rules in between people. We were wondering like, is there a better way to actually do this? So on our text messages, there's two models that Brendan and I were discussing that we felt could be really good models. There was a company who actually came up out of nowhere, and they have a monthly fee model, where basically the fee is $1,200 per month, and they are just a subscription staffing service where they will find you up to X amount of virtual assistants per year. And I really like that because they hire people directly. And after running like the numbers from our business currently, like if we just converted our current business into this new model, our revenue would actually go down tremendously, but we would actually be making more profit than we're currently making. So on the outside, this business model would look very like unattractive in terms of revenue, but in terms of profit, which is what actually really matters, we'd be doing better. So that's option number one. And the second option that we are discussing is, and actually, Brendan, can you elaborate on this model, like the paying, I think, just like a one-time fee?
Yeah, I think in business, like you get paid to provide a solution, and unless you're providing long-term residual value, um, like it's tough to justify a subscription. The subscription is, in the sense of a staffing company, would be like continued development, like really good like best practices on what you can bring into a business, and continuing to justify what you're charging that markup for, at some point. And so a one-time payment just makes more sense, because you're providing a one-time solution and you're walking away from it. And oftentimes you don't want to be caught up doing all the other lingering HR things that are related to an employee, like 9 months in, 12 months in. And also, you always have that risk of your like remote employee that you're helping staff want to go around you, and just work with the client directly. And so, in business, I think what makes the most sense is to not fight against human nature, and not
Dude,
fight
I love
against
that. I love that. That's
not
that's
fight
literally, I
against.
feel like that's literally been like the theme of like, it's that's been the freaking theme of this last like month, man. Nature. Like, how can we do business where it feels good and natural?
Exactly. And I think that's where business really can take off. The business model that Outsource Plug was about, I think it was not a bad one. And I think there was a lot of value, and Aerial Canvas happily paid for that value for years and years. Um, I think it just got a little bit skewed, in terms of like feeling passionate about what we were doing in terms of like like a human and social and business impact. That wasn't just like, oh, you owe me because you signed up and we have a contract, rather than, hey, this person continues to invest, continues to develop, and is motivated beyond the status quo. And that's like the biggest challenge I've had with business partners is, like a lot of people that came in the beginning feel like they're owed something. And they feel like because they were there in the beginning, they can choose to do less work and get paid more. And that's just against human nature, right? Any like civilization or kingdom or empire, the people at the top that wanted to get more and more and more and do less and less and less for the people eventually got toppled. And
Correct.
so I think you have to look at history and you have to look at life, and you need to look at the best people that are in business and how they've achieved their success, is that they've always made it a massive win-win-win long term, and not just try to gatekeep or middleman a process for the sake of, you know, being in the middle and not adding value. Because at some point, people are like, are you just going to want to cut you out? They're like, why am I talking through this person and they're not even relaying the right information? Why am
Hmm.
I talking to this one person and it's taking 2 weeks to get a result. And that's happened within my business, not even direct hires versus employees versus contractors. Like the people that the problem is, you know, happening around should address it with the people that are causing the issues directly. And if they can't figure out how to resolve, should they even be in that position, or are they just, just, I guess, unskilled, uncultured, undeveloped labor that does not know how to actually help you build a business that you don't have to micromanage and babysit them. And so, that's why I'm a big believer in direct hires. That's why I'm a big believer in vertical integration, going straight to the source, and not like paying a referral fee. I think is important. Offering a residual for referral partners because that gets them skin in game. But for the core company, I think it's super important for them to understand like where is this industry heading. As more and more people become aware of these direct staffing solutions, and the market's always going to be undercutting itself. Like you look at a company like Apple. If Apple rested on its laurels with the iPhone 4S, which was a badass phone when it came out, it would be out of business. It would not compete with the Galaxy S10, let alone the 20 and the 30 and the whatever models are out now. And so as a company, you always got to innovate and invest in the business to continue to provide that residual long-term benefit. And I guess to tie this full circle, right?
Okay.
Go ahead. To tie this
Tie
full
it full
circle, yeah, to tie it full circle, like that's why we've chosen to work systems and processes and business models that don't fight against human nature, that incentivize the best output, that incentivize the most relationships to occur in business transactions. Because Alex Hermosi, one of my mentors, and I don't know him personally, but I watch his videos and I religiously study how I can implement it in my business. He says if you have a great sales team and a mediocre product, you're gonna underperform the really good product and offer in a mediocre sales team. So I think it makes sense to invest in the core product and how do you make that product better, rather than just focusing on how to sell it and sell something that might not be as valuable. So, going back, tying it full circle, what is our new product and why is it more valuable and why is it a no-brainer compared to all of these different other models?
Yeah, and so just to, because I want some clarification. So you said that a great sales team and a mediocre product will be
Underperform.
outperformed, but will underperform compared to an amazing product and a mediocre sales team.
Yeah, you look at all the best companies like Apple, like Best Buy, Jiffy Lube. Their employees are slightly above average, but they got a great product, a great system, a great process, and you're gonna keep going back because the product's great, and it doesn't matter who you're buying from, whether they have messed up hair or they got bad
Yeah,
breath. You're still gonna buy the iPhone or the MacBook because
right.
the product's great.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I stopped buying Windows PCs a long time ago because of stupid viruses. I've never had a virus on an Apple computer before.
Yeah.
um, I'd rather pay the price. So before we talk into the product, right? And it's so funny that you were talking about Alex Hermosi because I wrote his name down as you were talking about it. So one of the themes that comes to my mind is I've been thinking about this, man. So the need for control will be your demise. The need for control will be your demise. And we see this a lot with, especially with employees who hang around a long time, their need for control. They don't want to teach somebody what they know. They don't want to duplicate themselves. They don't want to, they really try to create like their knowledge and make it esoteric within their own little, they just don't want to teach anybody because they feel threatened, right? But
Yeah.
ultimately, as businesses progress, businesses grow, it's like, hey, we need this business to be bus proof. And if today you get hit by a bus, you're, the company is screwed because you decided to control that control that info, right? And especially like, with me and my business partner who is in the Philippines. I should say our business partner who's in the Philippines. Her need for control really is her demise, right? It's and as a business, we're not here to cater to any one person's ego, right? We're not here for your ego. We're not here for my ego. We're here for the bigger picture. And if your need for control is going to get in the way of that, then you got to go. So, coming back to Alex Hermosi, though, it reminds me of when he would go out and he would he had full control of his intellectual property when he would go out and bring his sales team, and they would come in and they would work this magic, right? And they would fill the gym past capacity. These business owners didn't really know how to even work with that many clients at a time, but they had control of this intellectual property. And if you guys follow Alex Hermosi, he gained freedom when he, finally, after all the shit that he went through, he finally gained freedom at the point where he let go of control of that knowledge. And actually, like, you can be a client of Gym Launch and pay the money to them. You can read the book, you can watch the videos. He doesn't even care how you, like, he just wants you to truly be successful. Now he doesn't care how you become successful. If you pay them the
Yeah.
fee, it's going to get you there a lot faster. But the same thing that they talk about, or they give you in the, with the fee, you can also read about it and watch the rest of the videos and implement it, right? Like, it's all there for you.
Exactly.
So, and he's, I mean, man, he's our one of our biggest mentors now. So now, with that being said, coming into the new product, right? Why do these new products make sense? And I didn't mention a third model, which the third model is the DIY model, right? So pretty much before, let's talk about like the pitch for Outsource Plug, because the prior pitch for Outsource Plug really only worked if companies were already doing, at least $20,000-$30,000 a month. Really, like under 20,000 a month, we were not even trying to pitch these people because they just didn't qualify. They don't have the onboarding processes. They don't have company culture. They don't have CRMs in place, project management systems. They don't. A lot of these guys are still running their business off of a cell phone. And just because like foundationally you're not ready to hire staff, right? Maybe
Yeah.
they have a small office like the one that I'm sitting in, and they have staff next to them, and that works because they're next to each other. But the moment that you add on somebody outside of the office, especially overseas, and especially when there's a culture difference, it's like, man, I just can't work with you because when we get a new client, we invest a lot of time and resources into that client, and we realize that like just companies that were too small failed. Okay, cool. So that's off the plate. Now, we had a really high success rate though with clients who were at a certain price point or whatever. But what was happening was we would get so many pitches, and we would just deny people left and right. And in my heart, nature, right, in my heart, I'm like, man, I actually really want to help these guys. I think I'm more passionate about helping the guy who they got to $5,000 or $10,000 a month. I'm a lot more passionate about helping them get to 30, 40, $50,000 a month than I am with helping the company who's already at $1 million, $2, $3 million per month. Like, they're cool. I
Yeah.
love them. They help us pay our bills, but my heart is with the other people. And as we would pitch this, like and I still do a lot of coaching. I was literally on a coaching call before this call with somebody who's smaller, right? But yeah, that so our original product, not just the price point, the way that the contracts work, it just really a lot of the stuff went against nature. But when we started the company, like any good entrepreneur, we didn't wait for it to be perfect. We just started. We said, hey, they're doing that, we're gonna do it too, right? And we did it. We copied it, created a seven-figure business, and we're here. So now, so yeah, the third business model I said is going to be the DIY course, which I'm currently building right now. I'm hoping this whole like litigation thing that we're going through right now this week really slowed me down. I wanted to have it done this week, but whatever, we'll finish it next week or within the next 2 weeks. So now the model that I'm really excited about right now though is the monthly fee model. And the reason why the monthly fee model excites me, especially even over like the one-time fee model, is because It goes with nature, because we know, we know this, especially when it comes to companies who've never outsourced. There is a delay in getting the results that you want. There's a timeline that it takes to get there. You don't hire somebody in day one they're ready. It's, and it's funny because we get a lot of people who say, "Well, I just want to hire somebody and they just got to be ready." It's like, dude, you can't have a you can't have a $9 budget with $9 per hour budget with $100 per hour expectation, right? If you want
Exactly.
somebody who's going to come in and take care of this and do everything for you, you can get that. We can, hey, there's people out there. Actually, you could hire me. You could hire Brent. Like, there's so many people you could hire, but you got to be able to afford us, right? But if you have a $9 per hour budget, chances are you're going to need to invest a lot up front. Even if people are pre-trained, you're still going to have to invest into that person,
Yeah.
so the reason why a monthly fee model makes sense is not just because, like, before, if you would hire one person, our our average markup was, our average like bill to the client was between, let's just say, 1,600 per month to $2,300 per month. You do that times 10, you're at $16,000 per month to $23,000 per month, and we have some clients who actually pay that. But with this new model, a $1,200 per month fee model, pretty much, at the point where you're at like 10 VAs, your bill is like less than half of what it would be on our old model. So what would we include though in the $1,200 fee? Number one is coaching, which I know, Brendan, you're a big believer in coaching, because I mean, you're
Yeah.
literally
Coaching
doing
works.
$500,000 a year, $600,000 a year in coaching, right? And these guys, and it just freaking makes sense for you, because these guys are paying you 1,500, 3 grand, whatever, and then their businesses are exploding pretty much overnight, as overnight as you can get in the service industry. Um, and then and so we include the recruitment, we include the coaching, and then we also include community and coaching for your virtual assistant. Because if you go hire a virtual assistant directly, let's say that you hire, for example, a short form video editor, and you hire one directly. You go to onlinejobs.ph, you pay the $69 that it takes to post a job, you get 200 applicants, you pick one, and they start, and you hire one video editor. Well, that video editor has no community. With us, if you go into our Slack channel right now, we have 160 odd some people, virtual assistants inside of our Slack channel, and inside of there we have an editors guild where 40 of those virtual assistants are video editors, and your video editor gets to join a community, so that when you don't know the answer to something, your virtual assistant doesn't know the answer to something. I bet
Boom.
you.
That's money. That's money. So I think that's something that was like the one of the last missing pieces, I think, with the offer, that I actually wasn't fully, cognizant of, like, that you were developing behind the scenes until of recently. And that's the exact model that I think it goes with human nature. How do you create a community that can build upon itself, that can create value without you being there, just by, doing honest, good work and putting the right people in their same room and seeing magic happen. And that's what I've seen, with all of these, like, communities that I've been a part of. For instance, Neil Holm and Trevor, they run the Forward community, and they brought in like two billionaires to speak at the last Forward event, and I paid only $400 for my ticket, and I got to pretty much like be in like almost like a stone's throw away from a billionaire giving me his best knowledge. And that's what happens when you're part of a community. You get access like no other. There's no way I could have been in that room if it was just me and that billionaire. I would have never been able to set that up. But because you're willing to be part of a community and pay for access, you're getting it at that much of a discount. It's like the timeshare gone right, is how I like to say it. There's a lot of people, like, they try to sell a model, but the reason why the timeshare doesn't work is because it's finite. You have a property that can be rented out for 12 months, and you get X amount, and if you can't make it, you lose out. Versus a community like what you're building and what we're building at Outsource Plug, what happens instead is, if you're a business owner that's hired one of the VAs that we work with, if you're not available to train them, if they don't know what they're doing, they can lean into our experts and our senior VAs that are working at other companies that are giving back to so perpetuating the value and the knowledge and the training that you can't provide. And that is the difference between like a good timeshare and a bad timeshare. A good timeshare, finite resources, limited amounts to like extract value. um within a community timeshare, essentially, like you're getting, it's basically we're fractionalizing our entire management team, right? For
So here's
when people need it.
here's here's a big part though, like, and it's so funny, like we're talking about nature, right? Before I didn't want my customers to know each other because, dude, like sometimes I could sell like the same exact position to Brendan for 12 bucks and to another customer for 9 bucks, right? And I'm like, dude, I don't want that. Like that's like $500 per month difference. I don't want them to like talk and find out that I'm charging them different, because then they're gonna feel some type of way. Hey, all the virtual assistants, shh, don't tell anybody how much you make. Be quiet. Like, dude, they're gonna talk anyway. That's dumb. Like, everybody's gonna
Yeah,
talk,
don't
right?
fight against nature, you know? And that's
And,
why
and
I
the
love transparency. I love transparency at every level. I want my entire organization to know the numbers that are coming through. And if they want to see that success for themselves, they can be making money like us, if they want to rise with us, and if they want to grow with us and adopt the same business strategies and practices and tactics that have led us to this success. I want to even invest in them. And actually that's the evolution of ACRE Partner that I haven't even told you about is, at some point I'm like, okay, I can do the done for you, done with you program for 20 to 30K. I can do the, hey, if you want to dabble and you want to be part of the community, invest 1,000 a month, we can make it happen. And oh, if you're broke and you just want to like hit the ground running with something, I'll give you my e-course for like 1,000, 2,000. And so we have, all the different tiers, but here's the next tier. And this is how I'm going to continue scaling and multiplying and using attraction instead of just trying to sell. I'm using
Yeah.
attraction already with marketing. So here's the thing. I'm going to be providing 5 grants that will give them access to the diamond program that's worth $27,000, access to all of our white label assets and all of our trainings SOPs, and I'm gonna give them $10,000. And if I don't double their business within 1 year, they don't owe me anything until I double their business, and I'm gonna be working for free. And so that's a fucking killer offer where, oh, you can't afford it? First off, are you qualified to be one of our partners at, a grant, like level where we'll give you not a grant necessarily, but like more of an investment. Like we're down to invest in you up front. Who in their right mind wouldn't give up 20% of their business for a double, guaranteed double?
Duh. No shit. Yeah, of course.
So, and also get in 10K and also get access to everything that we're doing, which is probably worth 100K.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the that I can tell that that's straight out of Alex Hermosi's $100 million offers. Like, make offers so stupid, or sorry, so good that you feel stupid saying no.
And also, yeah, if you don't want to give up equity, just give up 27K one time and you double your business. How's that sound?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and what's funny, man? Like the nature thing. I felt like such a hypocrite as Outsource Plug grows because with Outsource Plug, with the only business model we had available, it's like we're forcing you to pay these employees by hour, right? That's just how our business model is. That's how it works, right? But I pay none of my employees by hour. Everybody's on salary plus bonus or commission, like, because that's my strategy that I have found to get high performance from my virtual assistant team. But I am hypocritical in the way where it's like I can't even teach you my best practice. I can't teach you my good stuff, which I'm like dying to teach you, but and now with with more of a community model, I'm going to encourage it. I'm going to say, hey, look, here's how I like to structure my contracts. Here's what I think that you should do. Or all the lessons that we've learned for the video editors and the photo editors, dude. Like, we've learned. I mean, I'll let you say the lesson for the photo video editors. You know more than I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the photo and video editors, I think That's a story in itself. But I think
Hmm.
I want to look at the upside. I want to look at what is possible, not what didn't work out, right? What didn't work out was we tried to do everything ourselves and like bring it in house. You shouldn't bring everything in house. And when I say not bring everything in house, I mean you shouldn't try to figure everything out yourself. You should hire a company that's already doing it really well and figure out how you can get them to do it for you at a really good price because they have learned experience and trial and error that you would have to pay 5 times more than what you think you're gonna save. You're a fucking idiot if you think you're gonna do it better than someone doing it that's been doing it for 5 years from ground zero by, and we were hiring like the ex-employees of these big companies thinking that we had some, like, oh, this is our way in. We got the runts, we got the rejects, and every time a reject has fallen off from my company and gone into another company, they work out for a year and they didn't work out for the same reasons. And I'm gonna,
Right.
like, I don't want to name any names, but like the people that were greedy with us that went to another company for a better offer were also greedy with them and got let go as well. And when I say
Yeah.
greedy, is just like there's nothing wrong with asking for value and getting paid, but don't ask for what you're not owed or what you have not brought equal value in. If you're worth $500,000 and you ask for 300,000, business owner would be a dumbass not to pay you 300,000 because he's making $200,000 off you.
Right.
Unless for sure he can get you at like 100,000 somewhere else. So understand what your value is. I see a lot of people that the true value that they bring is like 100 and they're trying to ask for 150. It's just like, do you actually know the value you bring? Because I'll break it down for you. You're managing this little aspect of the business when we have this many other departments that also need to get fed. We appropriate this budget, we have maybe another 3% to give you on top of that for your department and its role. Are you doing other people's roles that aren't within your department? If so, I can appropriate more of that value to you. But if you're just within your role, and I have a business that has, let's just say, a pretty healthy 20% margins, that means everyone that I am paying, like every dollar that I get in, I'm paying 80 cents out already. I'm keeping 20 cents. So
Hmm.
if you're going to ask for 40 cents, where's that 40 cents coming from? Are you doing two other people's jobs where, I'm giving you their 20 cents worth?
Yeah.
That's how it works, right? So human nature is interesting because like, and I've had to fight against it, and it comes down to discipline and just the love for the sport of business.
Yeah.
I've had seasons as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. I thought the end goal was to get a business to a place where I don't have to work and I make money. That sounds like every business owner's dream. But there's no business that, unless you put it in the right hands and you give them the right incentives to continue growing it, that has a lifespan of more than 5 to 15 years.
Mm.
The people that,
Interesting.
like, you can't expect a free ride. Even the biggest companies at the king of the hills, Blockbuster, BlackBerry, Nokia, HP, Dell, they were all at the very top, like literally like the biggest company in the sector. And they lost. Why? Because they thought they could rest on their laurels. Their management got lazy, their ownership got lazy. They didn't have the fighting spirit. And so I think to tie this full circle, if you want to be a company or you want to be an entity or a part of an organization that never dies, you gotta buy into the right business values. And that's why most of the most successful business owners, they build their business off of a vision, a mission, and clear business values. Because even when they die, those business values stick around. And it's like a religion. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm chasing and what I'm after is figuring out what is the best business religion to follow. And the best business religion is the one that makes the most business sense. Licensing, fractionalizing, all the knowledge that a corporation has and distilling it and selling it for five cents on the dollar because you can sell it 100 times over. If I sell something for 5 cents on the dollar, but I sell it 100 times over, I'm still making 5x.
Right.
So why fight nature? So it's the same that goes with the community. The community is like self-healing and self-perpetuating, and
Hmm.
building everyone up and building these skill sets up. And
Yeah.
you just can't find that from a rigid structure where people are trying to control and say, oh, don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person. The last thing I want to leave us with before I pass it back to you is when I started Aerial Canvas, one of my business philosophies that helped me grow and our organization continue to grow is the saying, I want to teach you everything that you need to know to do this business on your own. But I want to make the opportunity so good you would not want to leave. And if you
Mm.
can honor those two sides of the equation, you're going to get a rock star team. You're going to get people that can take over your job so you can move on to bigger and better opportunities and that will never leave you.
I love that. I want to teach you everything I know so you could actually go and start this business on your own if you want to, but I want to make the opportunity so sweet for you where you feel like you don't have to. I that's deep. And you know what's funny about that, Brendan? Last night I get a call from one of my recruiters, and my business partner burned a lot of bridges in the Philippines, and one of the bridges she burned was a bridge with like the best recruiter we've ever had. Okay, and I mean this girl was absolutely amazing, incredible, right? Um, and her and I had a good relationship, and our business partner in the Philippines, she ended up there was a alpha dominance thing, right? You're not gonna because the recruiter's badass. She didn't want to submit to our business partner, and ultimately their relationship went down the drain, and this badass recruiter, she was really like hoping that I was gonna stick up for her and whatnot, but at that time I'm like, hey, I gotta choose my business partner over you. Sorry, right? So she decides to go and start a competing company, like a direct competing company, which at first I'm like, hey, you got what it takes, and and ultimately, from what I heard, is that she ended up getting clients and getting screwed over because she hired all these people, carried the liability, and that's another part of our business model that's not good. We carry a lot of liability, so if somebody decides not to
Yeah.
pay their bill, we're the ones who are in the in the hole.
That's what I've been trying to tell Paul, and Paul's one of our other partners at Flatlisted. Is he's trying to start this whole business outsource plug on his own, and he's just
Okay,
like,
go for
"Dude,
it.
I could mark it up, $5, $7 to certain clients," and I'm just like, one, yes, you can, but two, do you know the risks, the liabilities, the issues that you can run into? If you want to take them under your umbrella and say they're your employees that you're helping staff, dude, if they cheat or steal or do anything, that's on you. You're the business
Mhm.
entity that has to take on all that liability. In addition to that, we're not even talking about like the right HR practices, the right, business practices when it comes to like legal entities that are, doing massive amounts of business, overseas versus, direct hires where, people have the right to freelance throughout the, entire world, and direct payment and direct hires is a new norm. And fighting against that current is just a dumb idea because Paul, if he's listening, you may get a fast one on someone today and mark someone up
Mhm.
$10. You may do that 10 times over. But when you're in the same room and someone's asking about our solutions, our new solutions with the community, with the benefit, with the training, and a flat fee and no markup, and you're competing against us over the course of 10 years, who's gonna win?
Yeah, and also too, we will be able to step away from that solution and have it run itself because it's such a good offer. And because, dude, we've marked up really high deals before. Like, there's been times where sometimes I felt bad from how much I mark up, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm so invested into your company. I'm on calls with you all the time. I'm helping you, so I feel like I deserve it. But for to get like my team to sell at that high markup on their own all the time consistently over time, and then not have because again, the client is going to talk to the virtual assistant eventually. They're gonna have the talk. Okay. And when the talk happens, they're gonna have a sour taste in their mouth. We've learned this over time. The talks happen. Sorry, I can't. They spend 40 hours a week together. And they're talking back and forth, especially if like they're like an executive assistant who's back and forth with the client
Yeah,
literally all day
it's
long. Like
especially
it comes
when
up.
you can look up on Google how much someone makes in the Philippines, and when you know that you're paying them 15, and all of a sudden you figure out they're getting paid 5, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck do you do, Paul? Besides you be putting me in touch with this person," and then
Right.
that person is like, "Oh, I'm looking for a new job that will pay 7, because they're actually that good or something," and then you're gonna have to either eat that, which is fine, but more likely than not have a weird conversation with your clients that you're staffing for, and they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
well, hey, how come you mark them up $10? I'm paying this person, you know, like 10,000 a year, and you're pocketing 20. What exactly are you doing past originally putting this deal together? And at some
Dude.
point, that's
And
just
it
gonna hurt your
happens.
reputation.
It
That's just
happens, bro.
that's just gonna hurt your reputation. And
Yeah.
I'd rather make. I've seen a lot of successful companies, and you look at some of the biggest companies, their margins are not that fat, but they're doing billions of dollars of transactions, right? And
Mhm.
so that's something that you just have to understand as you grow. Like as a freelancer, as a one-off, if you want to be solo, and you want to do everything on your own, yeah, you could probably get there and lock it in for like maybe 5, 10, 20 clients, but you're never going to grow a multi-billion dollar or multi-million dollar company by gatekeeping and by trying to control everything. And and this isn't a knock on Paul. Paul's extremely coachable, extremely trainable, but he's kind of like had an aha light bulb moment like you did, Anthony, but he hasn't made all the mistakes.
Yeah, I think, and I'll just say it on this podcast, right? Our superpower isn't the ability to find a virtual assistant and somebody to pay for them. That's actually not our superpower. Our superpower is the operations behind Outsource Plug. We're with this new model now too. We're immediately actually I'm sending an offer today for a badass recruiter that I found in Latin America to get us started there. But our ability is to be able to process 1,000 applicants a day and find the best people, right? We have an entire system that even our competitors don't have. And actually one of the things that our clients love about us is that process, right? So we just make it so easy to pick who you want, and then get in touch with them. And like that's the sauce, because finding people to find to buy virtual assistants marked up it's a little difficult, yes, but finding people to buy virtual assistants at cost, or to hire virtual assistants at cost, is so easy.
Yeah.
Um,
And when you
but
can
uh,
tie
but
in the
anyway,
value of that, you're tying in the value of that expertise and that process that you're giving them at just a ridiculous flat fee, in addition to the community where they're going to get continually developed and trained, in addition
mhm,
to all of like the best practices and like knowledge continually that we are going to provide so they stay ahead
yeah.
and
Well, dude,
competitive,
hey,
right?
I'm gonna wish luck to Paul. I've told him multiple times, dude, if you feel that way, go do it. That's all I ever have to say to anybody, right? Because that's really like what entrepreneurship is, right? If somebody was at Aerial Canvas and they're like, I'm trying to make this thing better, I got better suggestions, and I think they're just not running it good, then go do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then you
And
might
a
be like
lot of
that
people
badass
do, and
recruiter.
they flop. They flop big, and
Right.
it's funny. A lot of people. First off, if you're not happy somewhere, do something about it. Either have a conversation with your employer or go look for another job. Don't. I've had this recent manager who like thinks he's doing us a favor by sticking around and giving us half-ass work. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, go find another job if you think you're so good and so worthy. And it's just silly, like your reputation will always follow you. Like how you do things anywhere is going to be it's going to be exactly your formula for success in life. And if your formula for success is to half-ass an opportunity, the one that you've chosen as your main opportunity, then what the fuck are you doing with your life? What are you doing with this opportunity? Because I talked to my sales team, right? And, some of them are giving me a half-ass performance, making like 10, 15 calls a day when I know they're capable of 30. And I have a conversation with them and I say, hey, I love you, man. You're a great guy. I want to continue developing you. I've seen you when you're hot and you're on fire, and I've seen you when you're not. And like this is like the reason why you're not crushing it like you used to is because you're literally putting in half the reps. And this is not for me. You know, yes, you can up the reps and make more, like slightly more commission and slightly more, um, money for me. Sure, great. Everyone's winning a little bit. But this is your entire life's reputation and discipline that you're building your future on. If you don't have discipline here, if I fire you, how do you expect to get a better job? When they're referencing me and they're like, why did he get let go? Oh, yeah, he sucks at making calls. And now you got to dig yourself out of that hole. Secondly, if you do want a better job, crush it here, overperform, over exceed quota, over exceed all expectations, and then you can find a job that pays even better. But you're not going to find that job by half-assing an opportunity.
Right, right. You know what's funny? You know, one of my favorite scenarios, man, is when someone who works half-ass puts in a 2-week notice, and I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? Hey, great news! You can leave today. You actually don't even need to wait 2 weeks. And they're like, oh, wait, but I planned my finance. No, no, no. Actually, I'm not going to pay you for 2 weeks to be here so that your mind can be somewhere else. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Go leave
Yeah.
today. Access to all the softwares and everything denied today. Have fun at your new job. All right.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. So I think we're 45 minutes into this. So I kind of want to
Yeah, I'm about to jump into another meeting actually. Thanks for catching the hour, or the half
yeah.
hour mark. But yeah, for those who want to learn more about what Anthony is doing, you can reach him at. Well, we'll include the links in the video, I'm sure.
Yo, Anthony R.
Outsource.
Olvera on Instagram.
Yeah, Anthony Olvera on Instagram. We'll link all the IG handles and the website. And yeah, I'm excited for this offer to really come full circle and a lot of our current clients to take on way better deal for everyone and for us to be able to attract business like candy. Like
Let's get it.
if you got a good offer, dude, you can have dummies selling it.
ACRE partner to the moon, baby. Let's go.
Yes,
ACRE
sir.
partner.
Listed, coming along for the ride.